Hi, my name is Jeffrey, and I'm a writer. And I kind of wanted to tell my story in terms of how I got into the business in the first place. It all started when I was a teenager, and I was a little badass, I guess. um, I lived in Washington D.C., and I grew up in the hood. So I was in a bad place at that time, and I hung around a lot of gangsters, a lot of drug dealers, and the reason for that wasn't because I liked the lifestyle. It was just because I liked the people within it. Because I genuinely met good people. It's just we were all in a fucked up situation. I was poor. We were all poor. You know how it goes. If you're from the hood, you know how it goes. But I've never done anything in terms of that. But so me and my boys were chilling at a crib. I'll name this guy John. And suddenly, out of the blue, some other guy, I'll name him Bill. Bill burst into John's house, and this whole argument started. And apparently, John fucked one of his girls. So they're just going back and forth and all that shit. And all of a sudden, Bill pulls out a knife. Now, what do I do? Do I go hide or run away or call the cops? No, that's too smart. What I do is I get in front of him, but to de-escalate the situation. And it did seem like I was calming him down, and then John just said some dumb shit, and it riled Bill up, and I got stabbed. And right, like if you can see it here, I don't know if you can see it here. I'm sorry about the hair and shit. I know it's kind of gross, but sorry. Um, there's a scar here because I was stabbed in the heart, and I had four surgeries actually. And yeah, of course, I was scared. I was a teenager. I didn't want my life to end like that very quickly. I was scared, and I was bedridden for a while. But that's actually how I got started because I started writing. And I've always loved writing. English was always my favorite subject. I just never sat down and wrote. But when you're bedridden and you have nothing else to do, well, then guess what? Writing is what you do. And then I started looking at a lot of movies, and I loved it. I loved all that process. It got my mind off the pain and all that stuff. And it was fun just writing stories about bullshit and stuff. And that's the more I got into writing, the less time I had for the hood. And writing, it saved my life because it kept me out of the hood because I wanted to become a filmmaker and I wanted to tell stories that really, I wouldn't say impact the culture, just fun stories. Like I'm kind of tired of the political and woke shit. I want stories where people can escape and just have fun. And that's what I aim to write for. So for me as a writer, a lot of the hood stuff that I went through, it's still in me. And when I say that is that I always tell my clients, here are the things you're gonna expect when you get me as a writer. You're gonna expect weird shit, violent shit, and comedic shit. So, uh, because I always like to see I like to write about the humanity behind the monsters. I feel that's very important because I think we all go through dark times. Probably some more than others. Some more extreme than others. Like not like me, but we all go through dark times, and I feel it's important to kind of tackle the mindset of when you're going through these stressful moments because I've been through a lot of them, and I love writing about that stuff because I find it very compelling. And the comedy stuff, you need comedy, you need a little laughter in terms of dark times. That's how I got through life, and that's why I like writing comedy within my tense scenes and all that stuff. The weird shit, I'm just kind of a weird guy. It's nothing any too crazy or anything like that, but there's some weird shit. So, um, But in terms of the way I write, I've always been a big fan of Quentin Tarantino, and that's kind of the style, my dialogue. Yeah, I love that shit. It's what fuels me to, you know, it fuels me to be a filmmaker. It fuels me. It's why I'm in Los Angeles now. Writing saved my life. I, no, there's no telling. It's just going to be weird, but there's no telling where I would have been had that incident not happened and I had started actually sitting down and writing. So, that's my story and how I became a writer and how I kept of it for over 10 years. And, I love my job and nothing I would trade for the world.